Lounging, son.
Welcome back to the Comic Lounge podcast. I'm your boy Ryan with my co-host Dylan, and as always, we're here to talk about our favorite books this week. We picked 3 books last week. We're dropping one of them because I read it, wasn't really impressed, and I saved Dylan the time from reading it. I'm not going to say the book because there's no reason to bash anything. But we are going to talk about 3 books that we really liked. Like we said last week, Robin number 1, Deadly Class number 45, and now we have added Berserker number 2 to the list.
This is fate. Like, I know we weren't planning on talking about Berserker 2, but this is fate. This is Keanu working his magic on us and us talking about number 2.
So
I'm convinced.
He made that book bad so that we wouldn't talk about it.
Yeah.
He willed that into existence. He's like, I'm going to make that book shitty for them so that they don't talk about it. They talk about my book. Fair enough. All right. Let's talk Deadly Class first.
Yeah. All right. So last week I told everybody that I was gonna read 12 issues and then catch up. I read 9. I'm like 3 or 4 issues away. I'm right there, right at the cusp. Like, the last thing that I read was Helmet going to Petra's family's freaking cult. That's the last thing I read. That shit was nuts. That shit was fucking crazy.
Read the credits, everybody. I mean, this is issue 45. If you haven't been reading Deadly Class yet, I mean, you're probably going to want to skip this, but we got Rick Remender, Wes Craig, and Lee Larridge delivering yet another amazing issue. I mean, this series never fails for me. Every time I pick up an issue, it's always one of my favorite things.
Still advertising Deadly Class, like the TV show?
Well, it's because it's streaming. So
yeah, but like, are they trying to? That'd be dope if they try to get it back and
they should
through Peacock. I'll pay for Peacock for a Deadly Class show, like a streaming show that's not on network. I'd pay for that.
I would too. I mean, Deadly Class.
In the Office.
Deadly Class is, in my opinion, one of the best series Image is publishing. It has been. I remember picking up that first issue. I saw that first cover, like the cover to issue 1, dude. It was like right after I got out of right after I got out of rehab. So I was like back in the world. I was working. I could buy comics again, and I looked at it. I'm like, this looks like something I want to read. I've been buying it ever since. I never fucking stopped getting the single issues. This new arc, and it started in 87, but we have a time jump. So now we're in 91. We're in the grunge rock era, as you can see by Marcus's Nirvana shirt.
I love it. Like, this is like when I started getting into music, like as a kid. Like 91, I was like 6 years old, but like I think I bought my first Nirvana tape when I was like in like 97. This is very nostalgic for me, even right down to the color schemes. Yeah, this shit's dope. Rick Remender has a really good way of like making the perpetual state of sad boy summer. Like, Marcus is all sad boy summer throughout the entire run, but he makes it look so cool.
Like, dude, yeah, like you don't even know.
This is the coolest sad kid ever.
He alludes to like something happening, but you didn't read it, so you don't really understand the fucking magnitude of what took place. I don't understand the
magnitude of it, but I feel like there's a shit ton of people dead. So
yeah, I mean, well, and I'm not saying that like you didn't get the issue because you didn't read it, but like the magnitude of what happened is what put Marcus in this fucking state of just. I mean, this fool's just popping ecstasy every fucking day. Like,
I feel like he's at one of those motels on PCH. Like,
yes.
Like, you know what I mean?
I know those motels.
Yeah, you know those motels on PCH.
I've been in those motels, honey. I've been in the motels in the fucking shitty areas of the San Fernando Valley, dude. I've been in those fucking drug dens. Okay, yeah. I know. And let me tell you, I don't know if Remender has been, but he sure as fuck knows how to fucking write them. And Wes Craig draws them perfectly. So
yeah, no, this is very. They know what they're doing. They know exactly what they're doing. Right down to his interaction with the blonde chick. Like, right down to Marcus's interaction with the blonde girl, and how like he analyzes the entire conversation, right? And the thing is, it's like, I don't know. I might be in the other, but I used to do that shit too. Like, analyze the conversation, be absolutely cynical. Like,
I knew people like that chick, so I mean, I was right there.
Yeah. I mean, growing up in the San Fernando Valley, like this has every era that it takes place in, whether it be the late '80s or the early '90s, it has that feel to it. Rick Remender has a very great understanding with like relaying, has a great way of relaying to Wes Craig how to depict things, and Wes Craig executes it flawlessly. I love it. Like even in the morning after when they're waking up and it's like the blind, the lights coming through the blinds and everyone's just freaking passed out and freaking just disheveled on the floor. Yeah, that.
This is relatively.
It smells like sweat. It smells like sweat and old carpet in there. Like, you know what I mean?
I know that smell. Oh, it's disgusting. Yeah, I mean, this is it's a relatively quiet issue.
Yeah,
for Deadly Class,
and it didn't ruin anything for me. It's a great jumping in point, like in a sense there, because like this is like a whole new story. It's a whole new era since it's in the '90s. Before we were in the '80s, so now this is a whole. Like it even says like the name of the story are Save Your Generation. So it's moving forward. So this is a great jumping on point, and then you can catch up later. But this is a great friggin' return issue.
Yeah, I would even argue that like you could hand this to somebody that hasn't read the series, and this would make you want to go pick up the previous issues because you kind of get a feel for Marcus, and Marcus is always kind of like this, but he's a little bit more. It's a little bit more. It's a little bit more heightened because of what took place, right? And that fucking scene, because he's constipated, and
yeah.
It's like this is one of the most like it's gross, but it's so fucking funny, dude. He turns a gross situation and like she opens the door and this fool's just on the ground,
butt ass naked,
giving himself an enema. Fuck, I mean, I wish we've talked about Deadly Class before. We read the first trade, right? I want to do a reread. Like every time the new arc starts, because there's always a pretty substantial gap. It's not like it's the usual month that Image does where they take a month off, they put the trade out, and then we jump back in. So it's been a few months since Deadly Class has been out, and it always just makes me want to go back and fucking read everything, because
it's really good.
Because remember, like he grew up in this time. Like if you read the single issues like from the beginning, like he always talks about his like teenage years. He used to have playlists for like his like growing up, or for like what he was like feeling when he was writing these arcs. And music
is there
like
a 91 playlist in here? That'd be dope.
No, I was hoping there would be, but there wasn't. There was just there's a little bit of a letter from him, right, and then some fan art, which I love that. There's always fan art in the back.
How do you submit fan art? I want to submit fan art. Oh, here, send comments and questions to redremender@gmail. Okay, cool.
Yeah.
I want to send some fan art.
Yeah, dude.
But Deadly Class fell under my radar, right? But honestly, it's one of the best things I've written, and I feel so happy that I have. The thing is like a fever dream, right? You know what it feels like? It feels like remember that Leonardo DiCaprio Romeo and Juliet with Claire Danes that came out a couple of years, like when we were like in the 90s. Like this feels like that kind of cinematography, but like one of the craziest stories about a lonely kid, like a very lonely kid. Like, damn, dude, I feel bad for this kid, but also like he's gonna do some dope shit.
Yeah, I mean, look at the last page.
Yeah.
You want to see the real me?
Boom.
It's like what what in the actual fuck,
I mean, just expect text messages from me, like when I finally catch up and I finally see how everybody dies. Like
wait till you get to issue 44.
Jesus. Issue 44. All right.
Like Nick and I were talking about it, dude. Like this was my favorite book that came out this week, but in single issue. Because I mean, I can't not say that my favorite book wasn't the new Reckless by Brubaker and Phillips. I know that this was we're only doing single issues on this channel or on this segment because that's a full episode. We could do a full episode on that Reckless book, and let me tell you, phenomenal. But if I'm looking at the single issues of what came out this week, Deadly Class was the best to me. It was the book I was most excited for to come back, and it delivered on all fronts. This creative team is just, they never don't deliver a great fucking comic book, and that's the thing that sometimes you cannot get a good single issue with indie stuff where you feel like they're mostly for the trade. I talked about this with Jen, with like Die.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, not to say that it's not good on a month-to-month basis, but I feel like that is it reads better when you read it in an arc, right?
Yeah.
And each issue is individually really good, but it's like, for me, it was too hard to follow. Like, I don't remember. I remembered 44, and it's been months since I read it. Yeah. If you asked me the last issue of Die when I was reading it on a month-to-month basis, I couldn't remember exactly what happened. And I think that maybe it's certain things, but like Deadly Class always really fucking sits with me. It resonates. I remember everything in this fucking issue. And I'm like thinking about like one of the first arcs, right? Like when they go to Vegas, like the total Fear and Loathing issue.
Yeah, Fear
like
and Loathing, dude. It's a beautiful book. Like,
it is. I want to know how many drugs fucking Rick Remender has done.
I want to know how many drugs fucking Wes Craig has done.
I mean, that's, the both of them, because they fucking, like,
they get it. Like that peyote trip that this fool Marcus had that I just read in the past issue, the peyote trip, that shit was unnerving. like from the conversations Marcus was having with ghosts to like the actual visuals of it, it was an issue long worth of fucking fever dream. That shit was that was some intense stuff. And quite honestly, like, you'd have to have seen it. Like, you know what I mean? You'd have to have seen it. There's these certain color tones that come with a certain past that when you see it, it reminds you of that. Like light coming through a window and there's dust, but it's like a yellow light. I don't know. Yeah.
I get it. I mean, I've done my fair share of hallucinogens, so like I can fucking relate to some, like, not, I mean, obviously some of this is heightened, and I didn't have necessarily those experiences, but I've had really good trips, and I've had my bad trips. Yeah. So like to get it in comic book form, and it's like, that this feels genuine of like the feelings that are going on and what can take place when you do these kind of drugs.
And the color tones, dude.
No, Lee Large.
Yeah, from the yellow light when you're in the bathroom to the blue light that was emitting from the pool light. Like, there are these color tones that are synonymous with these scenes, and they are fucking hitting every mark, dude. Like,
I love this too, by the way.
And then like the reflection, yes.
I smiled when I turned the page. I'm like, this is so good.
This was
a great double page spread too.
Yeah. Fuck. I just think that 1991 is a great place. Like, this is where 1991 is where all my earliest memories are, and this fool is like capturing it like in music.
This was the year. Maybe I think I might have got my first comic in 91, but I didn't really get into comics till like maybe 5 or 6. I think was when I started like remembering that I was getting them. But my first comic book is from 91. So yeah, this was like, I mean, watching the
he even talks about Matt Groening's secret comic. You know what I mean? Like,
I know.
Like, damn, this was such a nerd.
Remender is just, he really is. He's one. I don't want to say he's underrated, but I feel like he at times is under about Remender, and I feel like once he left, because he had a shitty experience there. Yeah. Dude, like everything he does is just fucking top notch. Black Science was I still haven't finished that, but I've read like 7 volumes of it. Low was really good. Scumbag, I'm waiting to read it.
I really Scumbag is a lot. Okay, so I'm noticing like a trend in my comics, and I like really fun comic books, like just fun, just it can be outrageous or whatever. Scumbag is that. Scumbag is absolutely ridiculous and at times a little sad, but at the same time, like, I don't know, this fool's like the worst person ever. Like, this fool's just like, he's just an absolute. He's like the worst kind of druggie. like, you know what I mean? He's like the worst kind of druggie. But like, you care for him because he's a little sad, but he always pulls through, and I like that. It's a little obscene at some points, but fuck it, whatever.
Fun comic book.
It's a fun comic book, absolutely, 100% fun. Yeah. I haven't read a single bad issue.
Yeah, I agree. Just like Deadly Class, I haven't read a bad issue, and I mean, I can't say anything else about Deadly Class, but another fun comic book was fucking Robin that we read.
Yes.
My boy Joshua Williamson writing.
This is really good.
Gleb Melnikov on art.
This is what Mortal Kombat should have been. Like, Robin is Liu Kang, and he just goes over there. I'm Liu Kang, and I'm here looking for my brother.
Nick made a better analogy for it, like that it's Enter the Dragon.
Ooh, yeah. But with like metahumans and
right.
Rampage.
Right.
Ravager.
This fucking book was so much fun, dude. I loved it. I think it's and I'm not a huge fan of Damien.
Same.
I'm not like a huge fan, but when written well, I like him. It to me, it's not so much the character, it's how he's written, whether or not I like him.
Yeah.
Williamson obviously loves the character. I mean, he's said that this is like the most fun he's had writing comics, and it's evident in this first issue. I mean, we had the two-parter that went in Batman and Detective to kind of set up what we were going to get here, and I think this book delivered for me on all fronts. The art, fantastic. The fight scenes with King Snake to open it up. Yeah,
dude. I just love how the entire time he just had his hand behind the back and he was just moving. Like, he just didn't even care.
Yeah. I mean, you have to think about it.
Dude.
Not only was he trained by Batman, but he was trained by the League of Assassins. Yeah. Bruce wasn't trained by the League of Assassins.
Yeah.
I mean, right? I don't know. No. They changed his history so much, but I'm pretty sure he was trained by them.
They retcon him. Yeah, I also like his new costume design.
I love it.
The black, red, and gray. Like, he's definitely not Robin anymore. But he's using, and throughout the entire tournament, he's using that Son of the Bat thing, like, pretty thing. For someone who's like, man, fuck you, Dad. Like, I want to go do my own thing. He's like, he's like definitely writing the Son of the Bat thing into this tournament.
Yeah. Hey, he's like, throw some respect on my fucking name.
Respect this.
The Bat. Like, but I like that cockiness about him. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't, but it totally works here. I'm excited to see Connor Hawke. We get a couple of new first appearances, which I'm surprised the specs didn't pick up on this book. I love Flatline and Respawn, which is basically a Deathstroke knockoff.
Deathstroke Deadpool knockoff.
Yeah.
With the color schemes. One of the best revelations in this entire comic is finding out that Damian reads manga. Damian reads love manga. And it's the sweetest thing ever. I love that. That put Damien up a few points on my list. Hell yeah. Because the entire time you see Damien, you see like this kid trying to be an adult, but like him actually sitting down reading like a little cutesy love manga, like that still shows you like he's still a kid. Like there's still a kid in there. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then like his hallucination with Alfred, like there's still a kid in there, regardless of like how he tries to present himself. Like he's still a kid. And
yeah, I mean he's gonna
make mistakes. There's some things that the League of Assassins, League of Assassins and Batman can't teach you, and there's some things you gotta learn on your own. And I think that's what's happening here. Like we're about to see a new ass Robin after this, and I'm really excited for it. It might even take him down a couple notches too, because with the way this issue ended, like this one's gonna get like, obviously he's gonna pull through, but it's like he's gonna get a little bit of an ass whooping, and it's gonna be good.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's like he's already going through like this like tough period, right? Because he's still holding on to the fact that he feels responsible for Alfred dying.
Yeah. And
that's been going on for 2 years. I feel like it's been about 2 years because that happened in Batman 77 and it's on Batman 108 coming out next week. I know it's twice a month. So I don't know. I feel like it's about 2 years, right?
Yeah.
And he's left the Bat family. He's basically told his mom bye as well. Like at first he was like telling her he was going to join her. He wanted to lean more into the heir of the demon side of the family, but then he's leaning back into the Robin thing, even though I think technically he's not Robin. I think Tim Drake has the Robin moniker. But he still has the R on his. So it's to me, it's still kind of confusing. I mean, is he referred to as Robin? Is he not? But you know, him getting that coin from that guy from the League of Lazarus, which is another new concept that Williamson is introducing. And then I love that that spread when he gets to Lazarus Island.
It's the big island. With the Skull Mountain. Dude, this is a kung fu movie. All the stuff we love right now are like kung fu movies.
I loved it. I don't know if it was a 10, but it was a 9.
It was a 10 for me. What set it over was the art.
The art's phenomenal. I love this dude's art.
It reminds me of like, it's a really fun issue.
Yeah.
But also like, it doesn't take itself too loosely, but it doesn't take itself too seriously, right?
Look at that. The nice copyright infringement when he says it to Respawn. You know, like Williamson, his dialogue is always fun to read, and his ideas, like it's his love of the entire DC universe that comes out. I say this all the time when I talk about his books. It always comes out when he does a story that's in DC, like not his indie stuff, but he has a fucking deep knowledge of all the lore of all the characters. He's pulling like characters we haven't seen in a while. You know, we get Ravager, and then introducing new concepts. I like that, and I think that was missing for a little bit, where we weren't seeing that many new characters introduced. I don't want to see new characters every issue, like sometimes as we're seeing, because that also makes books spec, and then we can't have books on the shelf because we have to hold them back, and like But yeah, this is just, there's a lot of cool concepts that are being introduced. And again, Connor Hawke coming back.
Flatline's dope. Like
dope design, right?
Like and then the actual back and forth between her and Robin in that page where she reveals herself. There's like, you know, there's like a little sequence of action scenes. It's just like, yo, this is a great action comic. It feels like a Jean-Claude Van. It does feel like Enter the Dragon. It really does feel like Enter the Dragon with metahumans and Robin. So this is great. And then the end, dude. What?
Spoiler alert! But that motherfucker gets killed.
Yeah.
Don't you love how like her name's Flatline and he flatlines. And she fucking she rips his fucking heart out. Which, dude, I mean, he's an Al Ghul, he's a Bruce, he's a Wayne. He is going to get resurrected, obviously, through a Lazarus pit. The only thing we don't know is, will that fuck him up mentally? Because, like, some people come out crazy. So, I mean, is this going to be a way where his personality kind of changes? Because this dude's already a little crazy. Damien's a little off. You know what I mean? Like, he's a little psycho for the most part, right?
He's a little shit.
Yeah. So
he's a little psychopath. He's one of those kids that keep on talking back, but like he comes back with the best like comebacks. Like, you know what I mean? Like one of those kids that's just like way too fucking smart ass for his own good.
Yeah. I mean some of my favorite moments with him too, even though like I love Tim Drake, I like him more than Damien, is the way Damien talks to Tim Drake too. Because he kind of low-key doesn't really give him the respect he deserves.
Yeah, no,
you know what I mean? Like, no, so I always love that banter. So
but he doesn't like Tim Drake. He respects the shit out of Dick. He respects Dick enough.
Yeah, I mean, I think Dick Grayson's probably proved himself more in his eyes, and like, I mean, even when Dick Grayson was Batman and Damien was the Robin as Batman, that
Grant Morrison run was really good.
Oh,
Batman and Robin.
I'll say till my face is blue. I still think they should have left Dick Grayson as Batman longer. You know, obviously Bruce Wayne eventually always had to come back, but I think those were some of my favorite Batman stories, favorite Dick Grayson stories. The dynamic between Dick Grayson and Damien was better as a Batman Robin pair because Dick's not like Bruce, right? He's not like this dark brooding character. Like Damien is, so he was the perfect foil. Like it was the complete switch around of what the Batman Robin dynamic should be, and that's what I loved. And you know, I have very high expectations for this Robin book going forward. I hope this goes for a little while because I really enjoy it. It's a nice it's a nice entry point into the Bat Family line of books but it's separate. You know what I mean? Like it's not in Gotham. We have a Robin book, and that's that's always a good sign for the Robin book is when he's away from the rest of the Bat Family. Because like the Tim Drake Robin, the stories I liked the best were when he was not a part of Gotham. He was off doing his own shit. I guess you're right. I guess it is kind of a 10. I can't really find anything wrong with it. I don't know why I said 9.
No, it's a 10. It's a 10.
Yeah.
Like a lot of it was refreshing. It was a very refreshing story. Not in the sense that it's a refreshing Robin story, and I'm here for it.
Yeah, definitely fucking excited to see where it goes. And speaking of great fight scenes,
you ever see a cheetah get ripped in half?
You have now. You ever seen a fucking glowing demon entity fucking impregnate some fucking cave woman? I mean, you do now.
You ever see a guy get kicked in the chest so hard that his spine blows out the back?
Jesus. It's fucking insanity, dude. Matt King, Keanu Reeves, and fucking Ron Garney, creators on the book. So, and they killed it.
I don't know. I don't know what the deal is, but I really like this book, and I know there's some people who there's a lot of people who like it, and there's people who don't. And if you don't like it, fine. That's all your cup of tea. But I don't understand how you couldn't.
I haven't met anybody that hasn't liked it.
I met a couple people who were like,
okay,
yeah, Berserker was trash. Like
trash?
Well, not trash, but they just didn't like it. Like,
oh, okay.
But I also say now, could that be because like people hyped it up to like this crazy expectation of yours, and it didn't live up, or was it just you just didn't like the ultra violence? That's usually the question I ask, because those are the two things. Now that the hype has calmed down over Berserker a little bit, and issue 2 is finally out. I'm not saying the hype has died down, but it's not as crazy as it was when issue 1 came out, right?
Right.
And we finally get the backstory to the Berserker himself, and born like 30,000 years ago or 10,000 years ago, 80,000 years ago. We're both wrong.
I was gonna say 80,000, but I thought I was wrong, so I didn't want to say it.
Like 80,000 years ago, like caveman era, like literally drawings on the wall and like fucking people with eagle heads. Yeah, so we kind of get a glimpse at what life was like for his parents back then, and what they did, and just fucking jump right into it.
You know why I love the book so much is because I had no expectations with number 1. Yeah. I'm like, I'll check it out, whatever. Like I wouldn't say I was very excited for the book. I mean, I love Keanu Reeves, but I wasn't like, oh man, I can't fucking wait for this book to drop. It wasn't like that. So then when I read it, I'm like, holy shit, that was really dope. Same thing with issue 2. I was like, I have no expectations for this book. I have no idea what's going to happen. I'll read it. And then I'm like, oh, this is so dope. Like, you're seeing, like you said, like, we didn't know. This dude's just immortal. That's all we knew, basically, right from the first issue. Now we're learning the backstory, and he's telling us he wasn't even, like, conceived in a natural way. Like, his fucking his parents and their community just keeps getting fucking, like, slaughtered by raiders over and over and over again. And so, like, they pray. So they pray, right? Like, in this cave, like, for, I guess, God or whoever to, like, kind of bless them, like, with protection. The dad goes out of the cave. And that fucking double page, dude, of the mom.
Yeah.
In the cave.
Struck by lightning, and becoming impregnated by a lightning.
Yeah. Weird. Like, I mean, like, I don't know. Is that God, or is that, like, I don't know. I don't know what kind of, like, entity that's supposed to be, but to me it feels like it should be evil because, like the book is called Berserker, this kid is born with the Berserker rage. So he's Wolverine, basically, angry. In Keanu Reeves' body.
He's Keanu.
Keanu, yeah.
Yeah.
Wolverines?
Wolverines.
Wolverines.
Yeah, Wolverines.
Yeah.
AKA
so,
Wolverines.
I don't know, man. I just really am enjoying the shit out of this book. You talked about Robin being a really fun book. Yeah, this book is really fucking violent, but I have a lot of fun reading it because I kind of take the over-the-top violence out of it. It is just, I can't imagine, like, a movie? How do you... I hope you have him as a kid ripping a cheetah in half on screen.
It's gonna be. I hope it's a lot of montage during this part where it's like him just kind of like narration, and then
Yeah.
all this is happening. Like, you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
and what's crazy, this fool was born in like 60 days. That's another thing too. It wasn't like
Oh, yeah, that's right.
that had the whole 9 months. It was like literally 60 days, and this kid was born a whole ass baby.
Yeah.
Like,
and I love how the parents like have to deal with him like to satiate his like anger, right? And like they kind of like keep him suppressed, right? Once they see that he has that in him, and they keep him suppressed for years. And then, dude, when they finally fucking unleash their kid, dude, like, holy shit. You talk about fucking arrows everywhere. This fool's just going, bah, 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 just like killing.
Yeah. Dude, I'm telling you, it's a Frank Miller comic.
Yeah. I agree.
It's a Frank Miller comic. Even the silhouette scenes where this fool is jumping at the main guy with the horse, like to start off that massacre, right? Like, poor horse. Like, but you know what I mean? Like, this, it turns into a Frank Miller comic, like, with a few turns of a couple pages. I like how we're also getting an explanation into a little bit further on to his past, how people are always like taking samples of him and analyzing him, and there's like Dr. Sigmund Freud, and like, you know what I mean? It's pretty crazy.
I know. I don't want to give too much away, but yeah, like that. This, and there's still fucking 10 issues to go. I have no idea where this is gonna go, and I like that. I like that I have no fucking clue what I'm gonna get next issue.
Yeah.
Like, what is the goal of this series? What is the main like overall story? Like, I don't know, and I don't even know if they've even really kind of said what the end goal is. Usually, like let's say like a story like that comes off top of my head, Batman Long Halloween. You knew what the story was. It was a detective story. He's gonna find this killer that's killing on holidays. Berserker, you read the first issue, like, would you have guessed this was the second issue? No. Like, to me, and I mean, I didn't know what to expect. And, like, I think that's the fun aspect of this book, is that it really is unexpectedness every time. You're like, even as you're flipping the pages, like, you don't know where it's going to go.
Like, we haven't even met all the players yet either. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
They're giving us everything in like pretty short bursts. Like, the first issue was like, this is what he's capable of. Second issue is like, this is where this is the start of his story. But keep in mind, 80,000 years is a long time.
What did he do in between?
Yeah, exactly. And to reach now to where he is, where he's like literally on this facility with like freaking multiple friggin' scientists working on his body trying to figure him out. Like, what is he exactly? Like,
who's he working for?
Who's he working for?
We don't even know them, really.
Yeah, we have no idea who any of the players are. We might not even meet them until like the fourth issue. These next couple issues could all just be introduction. It could literally be just a bunch of psych sessions, and this one we're just learning more and more about this fool.
That's true.
You know what I mean? Like I said, 80,000 years is a lot of time, a lot of ground, and a lot of history to be involved in.
Yeah, like that's why I think he even mentions it. Like, this is just like a blip.
Still a 10. Berserker's still a 10 out of 10 for me. I don't care what anybody says.
I agree, and this is
we read all 10s.
This is my favorite Ron Garney art, I think, that I've ever seen. And he's done a lot of stuff. And don't get me wrong, I don't think that any of his other stuff is bad, but this is like my favorite. It's like it's really got this grittiness to it and this like crazy energy that I don't remember seeing in his stuff before. Matt Kent, one of the best writers in comics, I think. And Keanu Reeves coming up with this story together with him. I mean, yeah, every book that we talked about was just phenomenal.
It was great. This is.
And if we would have talked about
10 out of 10.
And if we would have talked about the Brubaker book, 11. It was an 11. It was that good. So good.
It was an 11. I don't want to hear it. It was 11. I want to tell you I read ENIAC. I'm curious.
Okay.
Look. When I heard the premise of it, it ended exactly how I expected. Like, that first issue was exactly what I expected it to be. Was exactly what I expected it to be.
I haven't read the second one. I didn't read the second one, so.
I didn't read the second one yet either, but I will.
Yeah. Okay. Well, let me know.
But yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I thought ENIAC was okay.
All across the board, it was 10s out of 10s. Everything I read was thoroughly enjoyable. It would have been great if we got Orphan and the 5 Beasts #3 this week. I just been talking about that comic all week.
I do want to say Beta Ray Bill was really dope too.
Oh crap! I know I forgot something.
I knew you would have mentioned it if you had read it, so I didn't like. That's why I didn't ask earlier. But that's another fucking dope book. But we'll catch up with that. Issue 3. We'll talk about that probably. Yeah, there's a lot of good stuff lately. Luckily this upcoming week is a little bit smaller. A lot of good stuff though. I'm gonna throw out some suggestions. You can say yes or no.
Yay or nay.
Read, okay. First of all, I know you're gonna like this book, The Good Asian.
I started reading it. I got the advance.
I read it. Let's go.
It's okay, cool. There's also another one coming out from Image. A lot of Asian stuff coming out of Image, which I'm fucking hyped for. There's another one. It's called Made in Korea. Dude, read
Is that next
shit.
week? But it's not.
I don't
next
know.
Week,
it's not next week, but it's in the advances. But Made in Korea.
Okay, that'll be a book we'll talk about for sure. But for next week, A Good Asian comes out. There's a book called Hey Kids Comics, Profits and Loss by Howard Chaykin. I know you didn't read the first volume.
No.
But this is a look at the comic book industry.
Okay.
Kids say yes or no. If you don't want to read it, I totally get it.
Do I need to read the first one to understand this one?
I don't think so.
Okay, then I'll read it. Heroes Reborn?
Oh, that was it.
Yeah. Heroes Reborn?
Okay. Yeah, I mean, fuck, why not? I mean, I have no expectations for that book. I think it'll be cool to talk about. We'll see. No matter if we like it or we don't like it, we'll talk about Heroes Reborn. I think it's it's another crossover.
I think we have to. Have to. No Avengers. Interesting concept. Let's do it.
Yeah.
But we get a pseudo Justice League though.
And then I thought about maybe the book that we could kind of touch on would be Strange Academy. Are you all caught up on that or no?
Yes, I am actually.
Or Star Wars Bounty Hunters Alpha.
I'm gonna do a Star Wars book.
Yeah. So
anyway,
all right. Yeah. So next week we're going to be talking about Star Wars Bounty Hunters Alpha, #1 Heroes Reborn, #1 Good Asian, #1 and Hey Kids Comics Volume 2 Profits and Loss, #1, and probably maybe touch on some other stuff. But yeah, that's all I got for this week. And if you're not already following us, follow us at Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram at The Comic Lounge. You can follow Dylan at The Dillbot on Instagram. Make sure you hit the like button, follow, subscribe, hit that bell icon so you're notified every time a new vid goes up. And on that note, we're out.
Later, buds.